Stop what you're doing right now, because the dollar coins in your pocket could be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, I'm talking about real USA government Sacagawea and $1 coins that people are still spending like normal money, but collectors are secretly paying huge cash for them. Most people ignore these coins. But smart collectors? They're hunting them every single day. And today, I'm going to reveal the top 5 rare Sacagawea and old $1 coins that could literally change your life. Make sure you watch till the end, because number 1 is so rare. It sold for over $500,000. Right now, in a world where every coin tells a hidden story and every mint mark carries a secret message, there exists a piece of American currency that stands quietly in the hands of collectors yet holds a thunderous historical legacy: the United States $1 coin of the year 2000. A coin that did far more than simply enter circulation. It marked a revolutionary turning point in modern American numismatics, a turning point powered by heritage ambition change and innovation. And as you hold this remarkable piece, you begin to feel the echoes of the ancient past stretching through time, connecting the first people of the land with the future of American currency. And that is where our journey begins. A journey that will take you deep into the origins of the Sacagawea dollar, into the political decisions behind its creation, into the art, the metal, the design, the controversies, the hopes, the failures, the triumphs, and the cultural power that this coin carries to this day. And as we explore every chapter, you will begin to understand why the $1 2000 coin is not just another modern issue, but a symbol of representation, identity, and transformation in the American economy and American history. To understand the $1 2000 coin, you must first step back to the late 1990s, when Congress realized that the Susan B. Anthony dollar had failed to gain public acceptance. The coin looked too much like a quarter. It caused confusion and frustration. It did not reflect American diversity, and it carried no emotional power. So U.S. lawmakers demanded a new dollar coin, one that would stand out, one that would feel different, one that would tell a story, not just sit in a pocket. And so the United States Mint chose to honor Sacagawea, the young Shoshone woman who guided the Lewis and Clark expedition across unknown lands, a symbol of courage, knowledge, cultural bridge building, and unbreakable human spirit. The design was entrusted to Glenna Goodacre, who crafted a portrait of Sacagawea with her infant son, Jean-Baptiste. Resting on her back, the image was intended to radiate strength, warmth, intelligence, and determination, showcasing a woman who contributed significantly to America's early exploration. And the portrait itself became one of the most iconic artistic choices in modern coinage. The coin was struck with a revolutionary new golden color, but it was not real gold. Instead, it was a layered combination of copper, manganese, brass, and nickel that created a warm, golden shine unique among circulating coins. The mint wanted a coin that would stand out instantly and resist tarnish, that could survive decades of circulation while maintaining color and clarity. The edge was smooth, the weight was carefully balanced, and the electromagnetic signature was engineered so vending machines could accept it easily and reliably. All of these technical decisions were part of the larger mission to create a truly functional dollar coin that would finally replace the paper $1 bill and reshape American currency systems for generations. When the $1 2000 coin was released, it entered a massive media storm. The Mint launched one of the largest promotional campaigns in its entire history, partnering with the U.S. Postal Service, with schools, with national advertising companies, and even with Cheerios cereal boxes, leading to the famous rare Cheerios reverse variety, which today is one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. Collectors rushed to find them, searching stores, banks, cereal packages, and mint sets, while the public reacted with curiosity, fascination, and excitement. The coin not only represented Sacagawea, It represented a new millennium, a new era of American identity blending Native American history with modern artistry and technological precision. Yet not everything went perfectly. The $1 2000 coin experienced the same fate as the Susan B. Anthony dollar. It struggled to gain traction in everyday circulation. Americans simply preferred the paper dollar note, and despite the mint's best efforts, stores and customers rarely used the coin in daily transactions. The golden color faded quicker than expected. Vending machines took longer to adapt and public interest slowed down, but even as its circulation impact declined its value in the numismatic world, sword collectors began discovering rare varieties, such as the Cheerios pattern, reverse, the mule error, featuring the obverse of a Washington quarter paired with the reverse of the Sacagawea dollar. One of the most dramatic errors in U.S. mint history. Dozens of other subtle die variations, rim characteristics, and strike differences added layers of intrigue, turning collectors into detectives as they pursued every discovery and every mystery. As the years passed, the $2001 coin became a symbol of what the mint attempted: innovation, diversity, representation, and modernization. It became a piece studied in schools, showcased in museums, highlighted in documentaries, and treasured by collectors around the world. Its artistic story, its technical story, and its cultural story continue weaving together, forming a narrative that stretches far beyond simple metal and minting. And as you follow this coin's journey from the drafting table to the minting press, to the pockets of Americans, and finally to the collections of passionate numismatists, you begin to realize something profound. The $1 2000 Sacagawea coin is far more than currency. It is a powerful reminder of the people who shaped America, of the voices often overlooked, of the innovations that drive progress, and of the stories that live forever in the smallest objects. And now, as we dive deeper into each chapter of this tale, exploring the legislation, the artwork, the minting technology, the rare varieties, the distribution patterns, the coin. It is a time capsule, a turning point, a revolution in U.S. minting history. What if I told you that this $1 coin was never meant to look the way it did? What if I told you some versions of this coin are worth thousands and hiding in plain sight in your old pocket change? This story will take you deep inside the secret vaults of the U.S. Mint, the political pressures of the late 1970s, the historic debut of a woman on American currency, the Susan B. Anthony dollar, and the massive public backlash that nearly killed the coin. In its first year, we will explore the types, the rare varieties, the mistakes and errors, and the one coin so rare that only a few collectors have ever seen it with their own eyes. Buckle up, because this 2-hour journey into the history, value, and hidden secrets of the 1979 $1 coin will change how you look at American money forever. This is not just a story, it is a treasure hunt, and you are about to begin. The year was 1979, and the United States was on the edge of major change. Inflation was rising, gas prices were surging, and the American people were looking for hope and leadership in a time of economic uncertainty. And while the world watched the headlines about the economy, politics, and international conflict, the United States Mint was preparing for a major change that would forever alter the course of American coinage history. They were about to introduce a brand new $1 coin, a coin that would feature a groundbreaking design, a smaller size, and for the first time in American history, the face of a real woman who was not a mythological figure, not a symbol, but a real flesh-and-blood American hero, Susan B. Anthony. This coin was not just about money. It was about symbolism. It was about recognition. It was about honoring the fight for women's rights and putting it in the pockets of every American. The Susan B. Anthony $1 coin, also known as the SBA dollar, was officially authorized by Congress in 1978 and released to the public in 1979. But from the beginning, it faced controversy, confusion, and rejection. It was a coin with the heart of a revolution, but the look of a quarter, and that would be its greatest curse and its most famous story. The design of the 1979 $1 coin was unlike anything seen before. It was Small it was, round, and it was made of a copper nickel-clad composition. It featured Susan B. Anthony on the obverse side. Her profile, stern, determined, confident. The way she was remembered in history. A leader of the women's suffrage movement who helped pave the way for the 19th Amendment. The reverse side showed the Apollo 11 mission insignia, a tribute to American space exploration originally used on the Eisenhower dollar. It was bold and powerful, but critics said it looked too much like a quarter. The public was confused. Vending machines rejected it, cashiers mistook it, and collectors were left wondering what this coin really meant. Now let's dig deep into the varieties of the 1979 $1 coin because this is where the story becomes rare, valuable, and historic. The most famous variety is the 1979 wide rim or near date variety on most 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollars. The date is far from the rim, but on some coins minted in Philadelphia, the date is much closer. This wide rim variety is much more rare and desirable among collectors, and in high grade it can be worth hundreds of dollars, even more, if certified by professional grading companies like PCGs or NGC. But that is not the only rarity. The 1979 S-proof coins made in San Francisco also have two varieties known as Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 1 has a filled or blob-like S mint mark, while the Type 2 has a clearer, sharper. As this difference may seem minor, but Type 2 is far more rare, and in deep cameo-proof condition it can bring serious money collectors seek out these proof varieties with intense passion because they represent the finest quality coins made that year. The story of the 1979 $1 coin is not just about minting errors or collectible value. It is about the failure and redemption of a coin that was ahead of its time, the United States Mint. Believed that Americans would embrace a small dollar coin similar to those used in Europe and Canada. They hoped it would save money and reduce the need for paper currency, but the coin was simply too close in size and appearance to the quarter, and the American public rejected it by 1981. The mint stopped regular production, and the Susan B. Anthony dollar quietly faded away until a brief revival in 1999. But what many people do not know is that millions of these coins still circulate today, and some of them are worth much more than face value. If you have a 1979 $1 coin, check the mint mark, check the rim. Look for signs of the wide rim, near-date variety, or the clear S Type 2 proof. It might be a treasure hiding in plain sight, and many people have unknowingly spent these rare coins in change jars and vending machines without ever realizing their worth. In addition to the wide rim and proof varieties, there are also mint errors that can command huge premiums. These include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double dies, and wrong planchet errors. One famous example is a 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar struck on a Sacagawea dollar planchet. A minting mistake that should not have happened, but somehow did. And because of its rarity and the story behind it, it sold for thousands of dollars at auction. We must also talk about the historical importance of this coin beyond its monetary value. Susan B. Anthony was one of the most influential women in American history, born in 1820. She spent her life fighting for civil rights abolition, and most notably women's suffrage. She was arrested for voting illegally in 1872 and became a symbol of the movement that would eventually secure voting rights for women in 1920. The year the 19th Amendment was ratified, and it was only fitting that in 1979, nearly 60 years later, her image would be placed on a United States coin for the Bay, first time honoring her legacy and continuing the fight for equality. The decision to feature Susan B. Anthony was not without controversy. Some believed it was a political move. Others thought it was long overdue. But either way, it marked a significant moment in American coinage history and paved the way for future coins featuring real women like the Sacagawea dollar in 2000 and the American Women Quarter series in recent years. As we explore the minting process of the 1979 $1 coin, we learn that it was struck at three major mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark. The Denver coins carry a D, and the San Francisco coins have an S. The business strike coins were made for circulation, while the proof coins were made for collectors and sold in special packaging. These proof coins are known for their mirror-like surfaces and sharp details, making them highly collectible. Among collectors today, the 1979 $1 coin is a fascinating piece, not just for its varieties, but for its story. It is a coin that tells us about the state of America in the late 1970s, about changing roles in society, about economic challenges, and about how even a well-intentioned coin can fail in the public eye despite all its historic value. But time has a way of changing perceptions, and today the Susan B. Anthony dollar is appreciated not just for what it was, but for what it represented. Coin collectors often look for high-grade examples of the 1979 $1 coin in mint state condition, MS-65 or higher. These coins are difficult to find because they were often mishandled, rejected, or simply not saved in pristine condition. And as the years pass, the number of surviving high-grade coins continues to shrink, increasing their value and appeal to serious numismatists. So what should you look for if you have a 1979 $1 coin in your collection? First, identify the mint mark if there is none. It is from Philadelphia. If there is a D, it is from Denver. If there is an S, it could be a proof coin or a business strike. Next, examine the rim and date. If the date is very close to the rim, it may be the rare wide rim variety. Finally, if you have a proof coin, examine the mint mark closely with a magnifying glass or microscope and see if it is the Type 2 variety with a sharp, clear S. Sold at auction for impressive prices in 2020, a 1979 S Type 2 proof dollar in perfect proof, 70 deep cameo grade sold for over $4,000, and a wide rim near-date variety in MS-67 condition sold for nearly $1,500, proving that even modern coins can carry substantial value when rarity, condition, and demand align. The future of the 1979 $1 coin remains bright in the world of collecting as more people become aware of its varieties, errors, and historical significance. The demand continues to grow, and while it may never have found its place in everyday circulation, it has secured a permanent place in numismatic history as a coin that dared to be different, that carried the legacy of a pioneer, and that reminds us all that even small things can leave a lasting mark. This concludes our full history of the 1979 $1 coin, from its conception to its rejection, from its hidden rarities to its modern value, from its minting process to the powerful story of Susan B. Anthony herself. This coin is more than just metal. It is memory, legacy, and treasure. Keep searching your change, keep studying your coins, and who knows, you might just hold a piece of American history in your hand without even knowing it. Imagine holding a single golden dollar in your hand and realizing that it carries the weight of centuries of survival, courage, migration, and identity. This is not just a coin. This is the Sacagawea golden dollar of 2009, a silent witness to the unfinished story of America, a story that begins long before the United States existed and stretches far beyond the year stamped on its surface. This coin speaks of rivers crossed without maps of languages, spoken without written words, of knowledge passed from mother to child under open skies, and of a young Native American woman whose presence helped change the course of history, even though history itself nearly forgot her. The 2009 Sacagawea Golden Dollar belongs to the Native American Dollar Series, a program created to finally give voice to the indigenous foundations of this nation. And the year 2009 is especially powerful because its reverse honors Native American agriculture, symbolized by the three sisters corn beans and squash crops that sustained entire civilizations long before European contact and still feed the world today. The golden color of this coin often confuses people because it looks like gold, but it contains no gold at all. Instead, it is made of a manganese brass-clad composition, a deliberate choice by the United States Mint to make the coin durable, modern, and visually striking, just Like the legacy it represents on the obverse, Sacagawea appears carrying her infant son, Jean-Baptiste, a reminder that history is not only made by generals and presidents, but also by young women, mothers, guides, and translators who moved quietly through monumental events. Sacagawea was a Shoshone woman born around 1788, taken from her people as a child, and later thrust into the Lewis and Clark expedition, not as a warrior, but as a bridge between worlds. Her image on this coin is not a romantic myth, but a symbol of resilience and adaptability, qualities deeply rooted in Native American life. The 2009 issue marked a major shift because for the first time the reverse design changed annually, allowing each year to tell a different Native story, and in 2009 that story focused on agriculture, the foundation of civilization itself. The Three Sisters design is not decorative, it is educational. Corn provides structure, beans restore nitrogen to the soil, squash protects the ground together. They form a sustainable system perfected centuries ago, long before modern science caught up this coin. Quietly teaches that native innovation shaped the land and made settlement possible, yet that contribution was rarely acknowledged. The edge of the coin bears inscriptions including the year mint mark and the phrase E pluribus unum placed there to keep the design clean and symbolic, a subtle reminder that many voices form one nation. Although not all voices have been equally heard, the Sacagawea Golden Dollar of 2009 was never released for general circulation. Instead, it was sold directly to collectors, which instantly gave it a special status. It exists not in pockets, but in albums and vaults, waiting to be rediscovered by those who understand its meaning. Its value is not just monetary, it is cultural, historical, and emotional. It represents a turning point where American coinage stopped repeating the same faces and began telling deeper stories. Stories of the first farmers, the first engineers, the first environmental stewards. When you look at this coin, you are not looking at spare change, you are looking at a message pressed into metal, a reminder that America did not begin in 1776 and progress did not start with factories. It began with seeds planted carefully in shared soil, with knowledge passed down through generations, and the 2009 Sacagawea Golden Dollar stands as a compact, powerful tribute to that truth. A golden reminder that history is richer than textbooks, and sometimes the smallest objects carry the biggest stories. As this golden dollar continues to speak, it pulls us deeper into the layers of meaning hidden within its small circular form, because the 2009 Sacagawea Golden Dollar is not only about honoring the past, it is also about correcting silence for generations. Native American contributions were pushed to the margins, simplified, or erased, and this coin becomes an official admission that the American story cannot be told honestly. Without them, the United States Mint chose Sacagawea not because she was famous in her lifetime, but because she represented cooperation, intelligence, endurance, and cultural exchange during one of the most dangerous journeys ever attempted across the continent. She was barely a teenager, yet her presence signaled peace to tribes along the route, and her knowledge of the land saved lives her child carried on her back symbolized continuity, the future moving forward even as the unknown loomed ahead. This imagery on the obverse remains constant every year, grounding the series in a human face, while the reverse evolves year by year to tell stories long ignored. In 2009, the focus on agriculture was intentional because food is survival, and native agriculture was not primitive. As often portrayed, it was advanced, strategic, and sustainable. The Three Sisters system reflected an understanding of ecology balance and long-term thinking values. Modern society is still struggling to reclaim the designers of the coin worked closely with historians and native advisors to ensure authenticity, because this was not meant to be decorative nostalgia, it was meant to educate and honor. The coin was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with proof versions produced in San Francisco. Each version identical in message yet different in finish, Reflecting how one story can be experienced in many ways, collectors quickly recognized the importance of this issue, not because it was rare in numbers, but because it was rare in intent. This was a government-issued acknowledgement that Native American innovation laid the groundwork for modern America. The decision not to release it into everyday circulation was controversial. Some believed the story deserved to be in every hand. Others argued that collectors would preserve it more carefully. Either way, the result was the same: millions of Americans never saw it in change, which makes discovering it today feel like uncovering a hidden chapter of history. Coin's golden hue often leads beginners to believe it is valuable because of metal content, but experienced collectors know its true worth lies in condition-strike quality and story-uncirculated examples, preserve sharp details in Sacagawea's hair, the baby's blanket, the kernels of corn, the curling beans and spreading squash leaves, every detail intentionally sculpted to communicate abundance, cooperation, and respect for nature. This coin also arrived during a time when America was reassessing its identity, questioning whose stories were celebrated and whose were missing, making the 2009 issue feel like a quiet response to a louder national conversation. It did not shout, it did not accuse it, simply presented truth in metal, and allowed the viewer to reflect the edge lettering. Another break from tradition forces the holder to turn the coin, rotate it, engage with it physically, just as one must engage actively with history to understand it fully. Over time, the 2009 Sacagawea golden dollar has become a favorite among educators, collectors, and history enthusiasts because it functions as a teaching tool, a discussion starter, a bridge between past and present. It reminds us that before railroads, before highways, before cities, there were fields carefully planted and tended by hands that understood the land intimately, and that the survival of early settlers depended heavily on native generosity and knowledge often uncredited. When you add this coin to a collection, you are not just filling a slot, you are preserving recognition. You are holding a piece of a larger movement to restore balance to the historical narrative. And as years pass and future generations rediscover this series, the 2009 Sacagawea golden dollar will stand out as the moment the story truly began. Not with conquest or expansion, but with cultivation, cooperation, and respect, making it one of the most meaningful modern coins ever struck by the United States Mint. Imagine holding a single golden-colored dollar coin in your hand and realizing that it carries the weight of centuries of American history, hidden struggles, forgotten heroes, political battles, and one of the most misunderstood coin stories ever created. This is not just money. This is the Sacagawea dollar of the year 2000. A coin that was born from controversy, shaped by history, and quietly disappeared from everyday use, while still being minted by the United States government today. This coin represents the first time America placed a real woman, a Native American woman, and a young mother on a circulating dollar coin, and behind that simple image is a story so deep that it connects the Lewis and Clark expedition, westward expansion, Native American survival, women in history, modern U.S. mint politics, and the failure of Americans to accept change. If you think this is just another dollar coin, you are about to discover why collectors, historians, and numismatists still talk about the Sacagawea dollar more than 2 decades later, and why some examples of this coin can be worth far more than $1. Today, the story begins long before the year 2000. Long before modern America even existed, it begins in the late 18th century with the birth of a Shoshone girl named Sacagawea, born around 1788, in what is now Idaho. She was taken from her people at a young age, kidnapped by rival tribes, and eventually sold into marriage to a French-Canadian fur trader named Toussaint Charbonneau. At barely 16 years old, she was pregnant when destiny placed her at the center of one of the most important expeditions in American history, the Lewis and Clark expedition, commissioned by President Thomas Jefferson to explore the newly acquired Louisiana Territory. Sacagawea joined the expedition not as a leader, not as a soldier, but as an interpreter, guide, and symbol of peace. Her presence told every tribe they encountered, that this was not a war party because a group traveling with a woman and child did not come for battle. She translated languages, found food-saved supplies during river accidents, and helped navigate unfamiliar lands. Yet when history books were written, her role was minimized, forgotten, or simplified into a footnote fast-forward more than 200 years, and America faced a problem. The $1 bill was expensive to produce, wore out quickly, and cost taxpayers millions. The solution seemed obvious: replace the bill with a coin like many other countries had done before. Attempts had already been made: the Eisenhower dollar, the Susan B. Anthony dollar. Both failed in circulation. The Susan B. Anthony dollar in particular was rejected because it looked too similar to a quarter, causing confusion, frustration, and public backlash. By the late 1990s, Congress demanded a new dollar coin, one that was visually distinct, golden in color, and meaningful in design. The U.S. Mint knew it needed more than metal. It needed a story, and that story led them back to Sacagawea. In 1997, legislation was passed authorizing a new golden dollar coin, and for the first time in U.S. history, the public was invited to help choose the design. Thousands of Americans voted and submitted ideas. Eventually, sculptor Glenna Goodacre was selected to create the obverse featuring Sacagawea, carrying her infant son, Jean-Baptiste. The baby was not symbolic, it was real, making this coin the first U.S. circulating coin to depict an actual identifiable child. The reverse, designed by Thomas D. Rogers, featured a soaring bald eagle surrounded by 17 stars representing the states at the time of the Lewis and Clark expedition. When the coin was officially released in January 2000, the United States launched one of the most expensive coin promotions in history, partnering with General Mills to place Sacagawea dollars inside boxes of Cheerios. This created what is now one of the most famous modern rarities, the Cheerios dollar, which featured enhanced tail feathers on the eagle, a detail not found on regular circulation coins, turning a breakfast cereal prize into a collector's treasure, worth thousands. Today, the coin itself was struck in massive numbers, over 1 billion pieces in the year 2000 alone, produced at Philadelphia and Denver, with proofs struck in San Francisco. Yet despite the golden color, smooth edges, and historical importance, the American public once again rejected the dollar coin. Vending machines did not adapt, cash registers were not redesigned, and people preferred the familiar paper bill. Banks stored the coins in vaults instead of releasing them, and soon the Sacagawea dollar vanished from daily life. But the story did not end there. The U.S. Mint quietly continued producing the coin for collectors and government use, while evolving the program in 2009 into the Native American Dollar Series, changing the reverse design each year to honor Native contributions, while keeping Sacagawea on the front, making her the longest-running female figure on a U.S. coin today. For collectors, the year 2000 Sacagawea dollar holds special significance. Errors, varieties, and condition rarities have created strong demand. Mule errors, where the wrong die was paired. Cheerios dollars, proof issues, and high-grade mint state examples can command impressive premiums, especially those graded Mrs. 68 and above. This coin tells a story of America trying to honor its past while struggling to move forward. It represents respect for Native history, the challenge of modern coinage, and the disconnect between government intention and public acceptance. It is a coin that failed in pockets but succeeded in meaning and legacy. And every time you see that golden dollar, remember, you are not looking at spare change. You are looking at the face of a young Native American mother who helped shape a nation whose story traveled from the wild rivers of the West to the presses of the United States Mint, and into the hands of collectors who finally understand its true value. And this is why the Sacagawea dollar of 2000 is not just a coin, but a historical document struck in metal, waiting for people to finally listen to the story it has been trying to tell all along. Its golden color but also caused early problems. Vending machines struggled to read it properly, which contributed to its circulation failure. Another ironic detail is that while Americans rejected it, other countries successfully transitioned to coin-based dollar systems, proving that culture, not practicality, was the real obstacle. The Sacagawea dollar failed, not because it was bad, but because America was unwilling to change habits formed over generations, today unopened. Bags of 2,000 Sacagawea dollars still sit in government vaults, a silent reminder of what could have been yet. Collectors actively search rolls hoping to uncover a rare Cheerios strike, a high-grade survivor, or a dramatic error coin that escaped unnoticed. And every time one is discovered, the story grows richer. This is why a 2-hour video can be made from this single coin, because it is not just metal. It is history, politics, art, economics, and human struggle combined. It tells us how a young Native woman helped guide a nation west, how her memory was nearly lost, how it was revived on a coin, and how that coin itself was almost forgotten. And if you ever find a Sacagawea dollar dated 2000, do not spend it without looking closely, because you may be holding a piece of modern American history that the world overlooked, but collectors will never forget.